Imagine picking up the phone to dial 911, your hands shaking, your heart pounding, knowing someone's life depends on the next few seconds. But what if you realized you were already too late? This is the chilling, true story of Sarah Donnelly, a single mother from Fort Worth, Texas, who found herself in a nightmare she never saw coming. A story that uncovers secrets, betrayal, and one irreversible moment that changed everything. Sarah Donnelly was 32, a hard-working nurse, devoted mother. She lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood with her 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Sarah had left an abusive relationship 5 years earlier and was finally rebuilding her life, brick by brick. Neighbors describe her as kind, private, and strong. She worked night shifts, often relying on her elderly neighbor, Mrs. Cartwright, to help watch Lily when school was out. Everything changed on October 3rd, 2022. It was a Monday. Sarah had just finished a 12-hour shift at Baylor Medical Center. She picked up Lily from after-school care around 6 p.m. They stopped for takeout and headed home. Everything was normal. At 7:48 p.m., Sarah called 911. Her voice was trembling, breathless. All she could say was, "There's someone in my house. I think he's still here." Police arrived within 4 minutes. But when they entered the home, it was silent. Sarah was found in the living room, face pale, phone still clutched in her hand. She was unharmed, physically, but she kept whispering the same thing. "He was here. I saw him. He was right there." But no one was found. No signs of forced entry. Nothing stolen. No fingerprints. No one on the security cams. Officers swept the home. Empty. Was it paranoia? Sleep deprivation from night shifts? Or something real? 2 weeks went by. Sarah was haunted. She couldn't sleep. She had panic attacks. She installed a full security system, cameras, reinforced locks, motion detectors. Then came the second call. October 18th, 11:57 p.m. Again, Sarah called 911. This time, she was whispering, hiding in her closet. "He's in the hallway," she said. "He knows I see him." By the time officers arrived, Sarah was hysterical. Again, nothing was found. But this time, there was a detail that raised red flags. Lily's bedroom window was cracked open. Sarah hadn't opened it. Police dusted for prints. Nothing. They assumed maybe it was just a faulty latch. But Sarah was convinced someone was watching them. Then the story takes a terrifying turn. On October 29th, Sarah took Lily to stay with her mother in Waco. She told her boss she needed time off for mental health. She was scared to be in the house alone. But on Halloween night, Sarah returned home alone to grab Lily's school supplies and some clothes. She never came back out. The next morning, her mother called the police after Sarah didn't return any texts. When police entered the house on November 1st, they found a horrifying scene. Sarah was in her bedroom, unconscious, blood on the carpet. There was a struggle. Her security system had been disabled, physically torn apart. The hard drive was missing. She was alive. Barely. She was rushed to the hospital, slipping in and out of consciousness. For 72 hours, she remained unresponsive. When she finally woke up, her first words were, "Don't let him find Lily." Doctors say she suffered a severe head injury, blunt force trauma, but there was no sign of who did it. The house had no fingerprints, no hair, nothing. Then came the twist no one expected. Digital forensics recovered partial security footage from a backup cloud service. At 12:38 a.m., just before the attack, a figure is seen in the backyard, dressed in black, masked. He moves with precision. He knew where the cameras were. He avoided all direct angles, except one, a brief flash. And in that flash, detectives saw something familiar, a tattoo on the left forearm. It matched a booking photo from 2017. Sarah's ex-boyfriend, Derek Holloway. Derek had a long history of domestic violence. He had vanished after Sarah left him in 2017, resurfaced briefly in Kansas City, then disappeared again. Detectives launched a manhunt. Derek was placed on the FBI's most wanted list. Tips poured in, but he was always one step ahead. Until January 14th, 2023. A gas station clerk in Oklahoma recognized him. He tried to run, but this time the law was faster. He was arrested and extradited to Texas. During interrogation, Derek admitted to watching Sarah for months. He said he wanted to remind her she wasn't safe. He confessed to disabling the cameras, to waiting in the attic, and to the final attack. What he didn't know was that Sarah survived. She testified against him in court. Her voice shook, but she stood tall. "He tried to silence me," she said, "but I'm still here." Derek Holloway was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Sarah and Lily moved to another state. Their location is confidential. Sarah now works as an advocate for domestic violence survivors, speaking at shelters and support centers. She says the signs were always there: the manipulation, the threats, the control. But she believed leaving was enough. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes danger waits. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233. And remember, if your gut tells you something's wrong, don't ignore it, because sometimes you call 911, but it's already too late. Bellhop Bell, subscribe to Random Stories for more shocking, real-life true crime stories.